I'm the unsilent majority, big mouth.
All right, time for a bit of straight talk now. National Senator M.Canavan's with us. G'day, Matt.
Yeah, Stephen, how are you, mate?
Very well. Now, you've been implicated in a bit of mischief, suggestions that Liberals might defect from the Liberal Party room to the National Party room. This isn't going to happen.
No, and I've said I don't think it's going to happen, but you can't shoot me for being good at maths or wanting to grow my own party room. The maths are pretty simple to work out. The Nationals Party is a very significant part of the joint party room, much more significant than before the election. And in my view, the success of the Nationals Party should be recognised. We haven't lost a seat at a general election since 2007. We've done so normally by fighting for what we believe in, being unashamedly pro-Australian, pro-wanting to develop our country. And I think that's, when you look back, you should think, well, we should perhaps imitate what works, not double down on failure. So all I'm interested in is making sure that we do take a set of policies for the Australian people that do put Australians first, that does scrap things like net zero, holding our country back, that regains control of our borders so we have a sensible migration program that doesn't lock young Australians out of owning their own home. Those are the things I'm interested in. And look, I'd love to do that in coalition with the Liberal Party. It has worked sometimes in the past, but whatever the way to get there, I'll back it.
Well, they'd have to stop navel-gazing first. But, I mean, if you look at success-wise, in Queensland, the two parties merged a number of years ago and won government at the last election. In the Northern Territory, the CLP is effectively a combined party as well for all intents and purposes. They won a landslide victory at the last election there. Is it time to look at this nationally and say, let's merge the parties and become one centre-right party?
Well, look, I don't support that because at the federal level, the coalition has been successful over the years, and I also worry that unlike those two states, nationally, the regional areas, if you like, the country areas, would be swamped by the cities. In both Queensland and Northern Territory, there are large regional populations. Yeah. That's not so much the case federally. So I think it's a different model. Again, coming back to the fact that the Nationals Party has been very successful this past 15 years. I think it's a template for what we should do. We're good at local politics. We're good at listening to people. As I say, we don't care what we get called. I think the main thing we've got to do is stop being so worried about being called names by the left-wing media that wants us to lose.
Absolutely.
So many of my colleagues want to take advice from people who want us to lose.
Yeah. Well, I said that after the election.
And we listen to them like, we're listening to them. We don't need to. And if they're against what we're doing, we're probably doing the right thing.
Well, I made that very comment after the election. The last people you want to take advice for are people that have a vested interest in your failure. So
exactly right. It seems to be a constant refrain in Canberra that, you go to Canberra, we better look at. But listen to these people who all vote Labor.
Now, I want to touch on something that you're going to have to address in the Senate very shortly, and that's this legislation that's just gone, that's being introduced to limit, basically put a statute of limitations on military decorations. Now, there doesn't seem to be any rationale behind this other than the government saying, if somebody's served more than 20 years ago, the people that knew them are probably dead now, so we can't interview them. But we have this thing called the War Memorial that is the best military archive in the world. Surely, and the likes of Teddy Sheehan would never have been considered under this new rule.
Yeah, look, I haven't looked at this in great detail yet, but I'm a little wary because I'm just mindful that there are always different circumstances here. We just went to a service that recognised a Canberra individual, actually, who had fought in the Vietnam War, who had been overlooked for recognition then. He tragically died in a motorcycle accident after Vietnam, and it wasn't until 40-odd years later that his efforts were duly recognised. So, look, I don't know. I don't see this being a need for restriction. I can't see why it shouldn't be up to the government of the day to make the decisions on individual circumstances. Yep. I don't want to limit our ability to recognise those people who have made the ultimate sacrifices for our country.
Now, yesterday, the unemployment figure's not pretty. You've made comment about this on social media, saying that you've said for a while that jobs will come back onto the political agenda. Around 80% of new jobs being created only due to government spending, and that's crazy.
Yeah, it's unsustainable, absolutely unsustainable. Our economy has been effectively running on the fumes of government spending these last couple of years, government spending and unsustainable migration. Both those things have to end at some point. And then the question is, well, what will replace it? Because we're not attracting the sort of levels of private investment that's going to create the jobs we need, especially if we keep migration levels at where it's at. And I don't think the government's focused enough on this. I mean, this last week it's been focused on increasing taxes on people's superannuation. There just seems to be no agenda here to get the economy going. Remember they had that economic reform round table a few months ago? What's happened to that? It's just dropped off the agenda.
Well, nobody knows.
Much came out of it.
We got to see your one, but we didn't get to see theirs. So.
That's right. And in my one, we did put forward practical ways of reducing our energy prices, reducing the size of government, both in terms of spending and regulation that hold businesses back. Look, those are the sort of things. It's not rocket science, but we've got to do more to stimulate business investment in this country. Otherwise, we are going to get a much, much higher unemployment rate. And people not having a job is one of the worst things that can happen in any economy. So I think this has to be taken much more seriously. The answer is not just interest rate cuts. It is the government doing more to be pro-business in this country.
The Prime Minister was off this week on a overseas holiday to recover from all his overseas holidays, and now he's back on another one next week to head to the US. Is he coming back to a firestorm for this last sitting period?
Well, as I say, I think our people are pretty upset with how the country's going. There was a poll out the other day showing that 49% of Australians think the country's heading in the wrong direction. And I think the Prime Minister's problem is he seems to have been taking a 6-month victory lap from the election win and not focus on the fact that his party only received a third of the votes. The Australian people are worried about where our country is headed. As I say, we've sort of lived through COVID, been running sort of on the back of a recovery from that / government spending, and there's not a clear plan about what we're going to do in the future. I was worried our luck might run out here, and we are really, really playing with an economic fire here with how we're running the country.
I think you might be right. Matt, great to talk to you. We'll catch up next week.
Thanks, Stephen. Cheers, mate.
All the best. Senator M.Canavan at 7:16.
2